I'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity with Business Owners. And today's going to be an interesting further topic. And as a business owner, the biggest challenge, really bar none, is, how do you clone yourself? Like, how do you clone yourself? And so one of the best tools to do so, to cloning yourself, is Coffee Connections. And so we have Mel with us today. He owns a logging tree service company, and he's trying to clone himself. He's involved in Coffee Connections. And so this is a working session. This is actually his Action Vision coaching. If you're not on Action Vision coaching, I definitely encourage you to look at it for sure, because it helps you to connect dots that are very hard to connect because you're so busy working in your business that you often don't work on your business. And working on your business is really where you learn how to clone yourself. So let's dive into the working, session right now. And so, Mel, questions before we dive in?
Nope.
So, what's the first thing you need to be able to clone yourself in your business?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Oh, probably a desire to grow.
Either grow or, not work as much as you're working.
Yeah.
Either one of those. So, if you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s, you're like, I don't really care if I grow or not, but I want my business to sustain. I want it, I want to continue to, employ people, bring value to people, all that kind of stuff. But I don't want to work, 60, 50, 40, or even 30 hours a week. So I want to clone myself, or you want to grow, either one of those. Okay. So you have to have the desire.
Yeah.
Okay. Desire to grow, or desire to not work as many hours or not have as much stress. So what causes stress for one personality, what causes stress for one personality actually goes ahead and, creates excitement for another personality. It's weird. Like it's interesting because what causes pain for one personality causes pleasure for another personality. Oh, okay, you have the desire, you understand the significance, all of that kind of stuff. So then what do you need to do, Lou or Mel? What do you need to do then? What's the next piece you need?
Well, if you don't know how to do it yourself, you need to find a coach, I guess.
Right. Then you find it.
Somebody's been there and done that.
Right. Right. So now you've got that. Then what?
And then you got to trust what they say and follow it.
Good. Excellent. This is why I love working with Mel so much. He's a great client. I'm just telling you. This guy pays attention. Like, it's weird. If I can ask, how old are you, Mel?
48.
So I've got Mel, who's 48 years old, who trusts me more than people in their 20s. like, and so Mel understands he's really, really good at certain things, not as much on others. And so he trusts the integrity of the system, as Tom Kuntz would say. Okay, so when you look at, the 530 grid, it's not just for growing our business, right? Getting more customers, but it's also for recruiting. So then we need to identify targets. So you need to identify people potentially who you could build into cloning you. So you need people. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. Do you recognize how unusual you are, Mel?
I don't think I am.
Right?
Maybe I'm unusual, but I'm not special.
Right. Right. And so I understand how unusual you are and how special you are. This is why I'm able to better sell you than you're able to better sell yourself. This is not unusual. I have a hard time the same way. Like, I think I'm pretty normal. Um, my wife laughs about that. My kids laugh about that. But I'm like, I don't know, I'm pretty average to below average kind of person. And so having somebody that understands your genius, Mel, helps you to be able to clone yourself. So
Okay.
there's 4 levels of learning. And so the lowest level of learning is unconscious incompetence, where we're stupid and we don't know it. This is often, teenagers, where like they think they can do things they can't do. But we're all like that,
Right.
you know. So we're all like teenagers in one
It,
way or another.
it doesn't matter actually how far we come in life. We still have blind spots.
We still have blind spots. We do. And so, um, unconscious incompetence, we're stupid, we don't know it. The next level is a conscious incompetence, where we're stupid and we know it. So this is where you and I are at often. Like, people actually think we know what we're doing. We tell them that we don't, but they still believe we do, which is humorous to you and I, because we're like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. And so it's a good place, unconscious, our conscious incompetence, where we're stupid, we know we're stupid, that's where we can learn. Then we move to the next level, and that's a conscious competence. And so if you do something day in and day out, you're always doing something, then you get better at it, but unconsciously. So then we move from a conscious competence to an unconscious competence, where we're good at it and we don't even know it. That's where you're at. That's where most business owners are at, especially if they've been doing it a while. So we have to reverse engineer that and find out where our brilliance is. And so, another reason I love Mel is he actually realizes my brilliance in certain areas far better than I do. And he tells other people, like, Mark, pay attention to what Mark said here. Like, he knows what he's talking about. Other people, especially younger, will say, oh, I get what Mark's saying. And Mel's like, no, you don't. Shoot, Mark doesn't even understand what he's saying, but it's brilliant. Like, pay attention. So what we need is the coffee connections. Mel can go ahead and, coffee connections can help you, but you got to get potential employees there or current employees there. When you look at the business, like when you look at the business, one, it's interesting, and they're going to do some work on this. If you go in now, you'll probably go ahead and see it. I think they're going to shift the order around. So podcast for employees, okay, and then podcast for recruiting. I think they're going to put another one in recruiting there, and then becoming a problem. Like, the cloning actually should be at the end. It should be at the bottom. Like, recruiting, that should be above. Cloning should be at the bottom, probably. Cloning is, most people don't think about cloning themselves until they're ready to sell their business or whatever. That's not a good time. Day one, you open up the doors. There's going to be different at the coffee connection. There's going to be different tables. You're going to be a table lead. So, one table might be, sales. So there might be, a sales here. And then there might be your marketing. One might be a table for pre-sales. One might be a table for the sale. One might be for servicing clients. The table might be for client or relationships for life. And then there might be, a table for leadership. And then there might be a table for profitable partnerships. But you're at a point, an advanced point. How long have you owned your company, Mel?
Be 20 years in September.
20 years. Congratulations. That's awesome. And so you're at a point in your company where you're becoming more and more aware. I got to clone myself, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to grow my business, or I'm not going to be able to work less. And my business is not going to be worth nearly as much if I don't clone myself. I have to clone myself. So there'll be a number of different tables. and in Coffee Connection, and you're going to be leading one of those tables. Now, which table should you, lead? It would be cloning myself.
Because if I teach it, then I learn it better.
Because if you teach it, that's brilliant. Like these younger guys, and I love young people because I learn so much from them. I probably learn more from them than they do me. Why? Well, hopefully at 60 years old, hopefully I've learned to become a great student. But if you say, I understand what Mel's saying, it's like, I don't think you do, because I don't know if I understand what he's saying. I mean, I understand it probably at a deeper level than somebody in their 20s or 30s, nothing against them, but I can learn something from them. Maybe they can see something, which is what I'm seeking to do. So what you do is, you bring, so you're going to have a table, for cloning yourself. Now, Kenny and Luke probably are not going to be nearly as attentive to that topic, as you and I would be, because they're just getting started on their businesses. They're not interested in cloning themselves. They're just interested in getting employees or contractors or getting business. Like if you don't have business, like you have almost too much business. You can't keep up with the leads that are coming in.
That's where my bottleneck is to figure out, because I look back this week, we look back at our stacks of leads that, and 50% of these we haven't used.
Right.
I've
So
got,
what
I'm on book number 7 right now.
Right. So what you have is you have this pipeline for marketing, and marketing is any way to generate leads. And so you've been in the industry, you have a great reputation. A lot of people know you. You're getting so many leads, but then in your pre-sales here, it's really little tiny. You got a pipeline that's huge, then you got a little pipeline that's small, and so you're getting jammed up in your pre-sales.
Well, it used to be servicing,
Right.
because I would just go out and sell as much as what I had service capacity for.
Right. So now what you have is you have these, and
Yeah, that's because I just picked up another contractor this morning, and tomorrow we're gonna go look at a first job. And I just pass the lead off, and this time I told him, I said, I'm gonna be quoting the job, and I'll make sure you get paid, and you just do the work for me.
right. What you have is you have just kind of what your funnel looks like.
Yep.
Right. So, so you have, or it might be more like this. I don't know. So it's something, so it's like what you need is you need people.
Yeah.
And that's what Coffee Connections is all about, is it's people.
Okay.
And so you're in the best position, like Tim Miller, he owns his own plumbing company. He's just trying to get his first employee. It's like Mark, like, I just need to get somebody. I'm like, right? And so he said to me at one of the Coffee Connections, he said, Mark, you're the fabric of the Coffee Connections in, the Elkhart, Indiana area. So these Coffee Connections, like a business owner should go ahead and start a Coffee Connections. It's one of the most powerful ways to grow your business. It's one of the most powerful ways to go ahead and get employees and to develop employees and clone yourself.
Okay.
So Mel is in the best position to clone me, like to not be the fabric. I don't want to be the fabric of the, like maybe when I was 40 or 30 or 20, maybe I wanted to be then, but I don't want to be now. I don't want to have to come every single month. And now I really have to. I plan my vacations around Coffee Connections. Why? Because I haven't been able to clone myself fully yet. I mean, there have been months that I haven't showed up and it's gone along fine, but it going along fine and cloning myself. So Mel's in the, best position, partly because of his age, partly because of his experience, partly because of his personality, for a number of different reasons. And so what we need to do is you're part of the core team. And so you're part of the core team. You want to get all your potential hires. You want to get all your potential hires so you have a database of potential hires. These are not just people who you've interviewed. These are people that, anybody you know, and you say that's a good person. Like that's just a good person. So you might actually have them be part of your hiring database, 6, 7, 8 years into the future. You need to get them and then invite them to the coffee connection. There's no cost other than breakfast. You might pay for breakfast for a handful of people and say, hey, become as my guest. You don't even have to pay for breakfast. I'll pick that up for you. And so the cloning yourself, so you fill the table. So what you do is, you've heard of the verse where it says, the passage where it says, a prophet's never honored in their own country.
Right.
Like your kids, I'm sure they're not like my kids, but my kids don't realize how brilliant I am.
My question is, do I have kids? I haven't seen them in 2 years. So
most parents, that's how it is. Their kids, like you realize my brilliance more than my kids do. This is a prophet's never honored in their own country. The same thing is true with your employees. It's the same principle. They don't understand the benefit they have, especially if they're younger, because they haven't seen other, employers. They haven't seen other leaders. They don't understand how unusual your heart is to develop people into whatever, God's put them on this planet to do. And so what you do is you try to get as many people as you can there, because one of the reasons I love you hanging around my kids is you tell my kids about how brilliant their father is. It's not ego. It's so my kids will actually listen to me, or people that I work with, or like employees. Like if your employees show up, or your prospective employees show up, and you have 1 or 2 or 3 people coming up and saying, man, you work with Mel, and they're like, not yet. And it's like, you should. So you have other people that are selling you. It's called either third party selling or it's triangulation selling.
Okay.
And then what you can do is I can see you interact with other people, and you can bring other people in. What do you think about this? So it's not just you speaking truth into their life. You have other people around you speaking truth into their life. They can observe you. They can observe the interaction,
Gotcha.
And so you need somebody in pre-sales, you have a lot of unconscious competence in the sale or pre-sales and sales. Like you're a great salesman and you might not even know it. Like, I don't know, I just go out there and talk to people. No, you do a lot more than that. So you might need somebody, you're looking at cloning you. Often the best salesperson, if you have a sales force, the best sales manager is not the best salesperson.
Right.
Because the best salesperson often is good, and they don't even know why they're good. Well, if you don't know why you're good, it's very hard to train other people. So you might have somebody you're thinking of cloning you in sales, or in pre-sales. Well, they might not sit at your table. They might go ahead and sit at Kenny's or Luke's table if they're the ones doing that. What you do is now all of a sudden you get a whole community of people that are sharing their best practices, and you're building your entire company. So at some point in the future, you might require coffee connections. I mean, it's an hour to a couple hours on, once, every Saturday, or the first Saturday of every month is what we do it here in our area. So you might just say, or you might say, if you want to achieve your life vision, your dreams, your goals in all areas of your life, attend this, because it can help connect. Like if they're not connecting what they're doing with you every single day with their life vision, why they were put on this planet, they're not going to go ahead and be as happy. They're not going to be as productive. If they're not as happy and productive, well, then they're not going to go ahead and make the company as much money. If the company's not making as much money, the company can't pay employees more if it doesn't have money to pay them more. So a lot of times employees, contractors, they don't understand the correlation between if you're super productive and that makes the company more money, the company can pay you more money. They're not connecting those dots. At Coffee Connection, they will. So that's where your role. And so it's exactly what you said. If you want to learn something, teach it. So you take the group for cloning yourself. And you're just transparent. You're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but this is what I'm trying. And so what you do is you learn with your employees, you learn with other business owners, like everybody's contributing, that piece. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Anything else you got, sir?
Nope. I think I'm
All
good.
right. If you're listening to,
I got a bunch
what's
of
that?
guys. I got a bunch of guys to contact. So
Yep. All right. Sounds good, sir. We'll see you.
thank you. Bye.
So if you're listening to the rebroadcast of this podcast or watching it, share it with other business owners, right? Share it with your employees. Like, it makes a lot of sense, right? If you have any questions, connect with the individual who invited you to participate in today's session, or you can call toll free 888-230-2300. Outside the U.S., 630-393-9909. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Have an amazing day. Bye-bye.